instant family. This movie stars Rose Byrne and Mark Wahlberg as a couple, Pete and Ellie, who decide to adopt a family. Unbeknownst to them, the one child they want to adopt comes with two others. They are played by Isabella Moner, Gustavo Correz, and Juliana Gimez. If I pronounce those wrong, I do apologize. All the kids do really well, along with Mark and Rose. I think as a family dynamic, they do it very well. Isabella was actually in Transformers: The Last Night with Mark Wahlberg, and I feel like you can actually kind of see that they've had a connection before, a little bit. They play off each other really well. Not that it's a great movie to meet someone with and work on with, but, you know, it's still working with them, getting used to them, especially as a younger person against an experienced, long-time Hollywood star like Mark Wahlberg. This film was directed by Sean Anders. He has directed Horrible Bosses 2. He's also directed Daddy's Home 1 and 2, and That's My Boy. Octavia Spencer and Tig Notaro, whom I didn't know about. I knew about Octavia, and I really like her, but Tig I never knew about and looked up, and she's a comedian, along with Tom Segura, who's also a comedian that's in this film, and all three of them do well. I think Octavia and Tig do the better in every scene they're in. Like, doesn't really steal the scene because Mark and Rose are usually in those scenes with them, but just the way they work and how Octavia and Tig really work each other and how they bounce off each other, and one's usually more fun, the other one's more like, you know, kind of like a Toby from The Office, but it works really, really well. If I could give a score on just emotions, I'd give this a dang near perfect score. I used to be on edge about adopting, like, for myself in real life, but as I've grown older in the last couple of years, you know, you recognize that life isn't always perfect. You might not be able to get your own family. It's a very hard subject to think about or to even go through, but a movie like this, as much as it shows you the fun, it does show you the worst case scenarios of, you know, if one of the kids got hurt, one of the kids hated you, stuff like that. It gives you the worst case scenarios, but also gives you the best case scenario. And I think, you know, for a guy that's opened up to adoption a lot, especially if I can never have my own kids by my own fault, by someone else's, and it's not a blame game. It's not a blame game. This movie doesn't, it's not really the plot of it. There's other characters in the film that do have that problem, but it's not Mark and Rose's problem. I think that's good because then you can keep it more of a comedy with light drama throughout, and sometimes heavy drama. But if you had that piece in there as well, with a piece of not being able to have your own kids physically your own way, then that just adds a whole nother drama aspect that would lengthen the movie and make it really messed up. This way, the way they did it was, I think, well done. Got a lot of comedy into it, but also kept a lot of drama into it. But like I said, they kept the bad and the good of adopting, and to the point where, you know, it still gets you in the mood to do it, or just, you know, at least wanting to help out those places if you don't want to adopt yourself. And this does show the highs. Some of the kids want to call them mommy and daddy after a long time, but it does show the lows of maybe losing the kids that you wanting to adopt, go back to their birth parents, and how that sometimes can be a disappointment as well, as long as a positive thing. And just how it goes about with it all, and kind of it tiptoes around in some places and other places it doesn't. I really enjoy that. Film-wise, I think it had a couple cool features in the beginning of it and kind of ran out of its magic eventually, in terms of doing interesting things that you wouldn't see otherwise. But it's still cool that they did it in the beginning just to catch my eye and keep it going. This is PG-13, even though the idiot in my audience didn't know it was PG-13. But it does have a lot of S-bombs. They get to do that, and they do get to use the holy one F-bomb. And I like it, the way they use it. It's kind of along the lines of Crazy Rich Asians, where they use the one F-bomb really well for comedic effect. Maybe not as well as Crazy Rich Asians, but it still does well. The ending is great and heartwarming. It does have a sadness to it and bitterness. Not bitterness, but just sadness before the true ending, but after that happens, then the true ending happens, and it just does a lot better. Joan Cusack is in the ending, and it's just weird seeing her there. Didn't even recognize it was her until I went to the IMDb page. But I do like the ending. I like the entirety of the film. I know it's hard to compare because I don't think I've ever seen another movie about adoption with its focal point as side points, like a B plot in a movie. I've seen that, but not necessarily an A plot film where it was the main focus of it. I really, really enjoyed it. I want to give it an 8 or 8.5. I'm just going to call it 8.25. Put it in there because reasons. And at the end of the film, right after the end of the roll credits, before the names go up, before Mark Wahlberg and Rose Byrne and all those names start going up, it does leave a link to go and look up adoption. And then Isabel actually has a song for the film that gets to play at the ending. It's her singing. Just, I don't know, it makes you feel like the purpose of the film wasn't to make money. Obviously, they put it out there, so they want it to make money, the producers and everyone behind it. But it does feel like there is a purpose. Sometimes in films, they do have a message, and it's just hammered into your head, and you're like, oh, God, I get it, finally, okay. But this one, it's well done. It's not super poetic because there's still comedy bits throughout the entire film and, stuff to crack jokes at. But it still has a good-natured ending and well wishes and makes you want to do something or think about it, or at least, put it into your circles of life that, wow, this is really good. This is eye-opening. There's options out there. It doesn't have to be the end game, the end if you can't have your own. There's options out there. Or if you're just older and just want to adopt a teenager whom is a lot harder to get into a home, there's that option. And I just love it for that option. I just love it for that and how it just opens up a lot of new dialogue to have in your daily life or day-to-day life, or just once in a while talk to someone about it. It's lovely in that aspect, and maybe it's because of that I give it a higher score. Some of the people I with thought some of the way it was shot or filmed was weird, or how the pacing was off, but I was thoroughly enjoying the whole movie the entire way. And I don't know, and also, like, Mark Wahlberg shows some emotion in here, and I know Rose can. Like, she's shown it multiple times before, but seeing Mark do it is like, whoa. And then, like I said before, all the kids are great. So, if you have an older teenager, maybe you want to go watch it, or if you have just some distant relative, not distant, too distant, like a cousin, an aunt, uncle, or like you're a couple, or maybe you're a bunch of friends and like you're really open about emotions and stuff, go check it out. It's not making a whole lot at the box office, it's not making big swings elsewhere, but it's still an enjoyable film that you'll get your money's worth out of, especially if you do Redbox or Netflix when it does get there, instead of just the movie theater. But you could almost justify a date night for it with it. I think it's really good, especially if you have a movie pass or something like that. Definitely go see it. That's it for this film. My name is Clark Addison. I review entertainment because I care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.